Most people think ethical hacking requires some ridiculously expensive machine, but the truth is, the right budget laptop can handle Kali Linux, virtual machines, and penetration testing tools without draining a bank account. Today, these 5 best budget hacking laptops are going head-to-head, and every single one of them is built to handle real cybersecurity work. The Lenovo IdeaPad 3 is another strong contender that has quietly become a favorite in the cybersecurity community, especially among students. It comes equipped with either an AMD Ryzen 57520U or an Intel Core i5-1235U, paired with 8 GB of DDR4 RAM and a 512 GB SSD. The 15.6-inch Full HD IPS panel gets the job done for long work sessions, though it is not the brightest display out there. Where the IdeaPad 3 really earns its stripes is in reliability and Linux support. This laptop has been battle-tested by thousands of cybersecurity students running Kali Linux, and the community feedback is overwhelmingly positive. Dual booting works without the usual frustrations of driver conflicts or Wi-Fi cards refusing to cooperate. The keyboard deserves a mention because it has surprisingly good key travel for a budget machine, and that matters during marathon scripting sessions or when typing out long commands in a terminal. Lenovo also made the storage and RAM accessible for upgrades, so starting with the base model and expanding later is a smart move for anyone watching their budget closely. There is an expandable M.2 SSD slot, which means adding a second drive for dedicated virtual machine storage is straightforward. Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5, USB-C, and HDMI round out the connectivity, and the overall build quality feels sturdy without adding unnecessary weight. The IdeaPad 3 is not flashy, and it is not trying to be. It is a no-nonsense machine that handles the fundamentals of ethical hacking and penetration testing without overcomplicating things. For someone just getting started with cybersecurity certifications like the CEH or diving into platforms like Hack the Box, this laptop checks every essential box at a very reasonable cost. The Acer Aspire 5 has earned its reputation as one of the most reliable entry-level laptops for anyone stepping into ethical hacking. Under the hood, it runs either an Intel Core i5-1335U or an AMD Ryzen 5-7530U, both of which deliver enough processing muscle to handle everyday penetration testing tasks, scripting, and running a virtual machine or two without any hiccups. The 15.6-inch Full HD IPS display is crisp and clear with an anti-glare coating, which matters when staring at terminal windows and code for hours at a time. It ships with 8 GB of RAM, but here's where things get interesting. There is a free SODIMM slot inside, meaning upgrading to 16 GB takes about 5 minutes and a screwdriver. That upgrade alone transforms this laptop from a casual browsing machine into a legitimate hacking workstation capable of running Kali Linux alongside a secondary virtual machine. Storage comes in at 512 GB on a fast PCIe NVMe SSD, which keeps boot time short and tools loading quickly. Connectivity is solid too, with Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.1, a USB-C port, full-size HDMI, and even a dedicated Ethernet port, something a lot of Ultrabooks have dropped entirely. For anyone doing network analysis or packet sniffing, that wired connection is a huge deal. The whole thing weighs under 4 pounds, so carrying it between classes, coffee shops, or a home lab is effortless. Battery life hovers around 8 to 10 hours on lighter workloads, so it can last through a full day without constantly searching for an outlet. Linux compatibility is outstanding here. Kali, Ubuntu, and Parrot OS all run smoothly with minimal driver headaches. The only real limitation is the lack of a dedicated graphics card, which means GPU-accelerated password cracking with tools like Hashcat is off the table. But for learning the fundamentals, running Metasploit, using Wireshark, and building out lab environments, the Aspire 5 delivers far more than its modest specs might suggest. The Asus TUF Gaming. A 16 takes things to a completely different level. This is not just a budget laptop that happens to work for hacking. It is a serious performance machine wrapped in a chassis that has been tested against military durability standards. Powered by up to an AMD Ryzen 9794OHX processor with 16 cores and 32 threads, this thing chews through multi-threaded workloads like vulnerability scanning and brute force testing without even flinching. Paired with that beastly CPU is an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4060, or RTX 4070 GPU, and that changes the game entirely. With a dedicated graphics card, tools like Hashcat can leverage GPU acceleration for password cracking, turning hours-long tasks into something far more manageable. The 16-inch QHD Plus display runs at 2560 by 1600 resolution with a 165 Hz refresh rate, delivering sharp visuals and plenty of screen real estate for splitting terminal windows side by side. Memory starts at 16 gigabytes of DDR5 running at 5200 MHz, and Asus kept both RAM slots accessible for future upgrades. Storage features dual M2 PCIe Gen 4 slots, so running a dedicated drive for virtual machines while keeping the main OS on a separate SSD is entirely doable. The cooling system uses a dual-fan setup that manages thermals effectively, even during sustained heavy loads like running 3 or 4 virtual machines simultaneously. Build quality is exceptional for this category. Asus puts the TUF through MIL-STD-810H testing, which covers resistance to vibration, shock, extreme temperatures, and drops. For anyone doing field work, traveling to conferences, or just tossing a laptop into a backpack every day, the durability matters. The trade-off is weight, coming in at around 5 pounds, which is noticeably heavier than the previous 2 picks. Fan noise can also ramp up during intensive tasks, but for anyone who needs real computational power for advanced ethical hacking without spending premium laptop money, the TUF Gaming S16 is an absolute standout. The Acer Nitro V15 sits in a sweet spot that a lot of cybersecurity enthusiasts overlook. It is technically a gaming laptop, but its spec sheet reads like a checklist for penetration testing. The Intel Core i5-13420H provides 8 cores of processing power, and the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4050 with 6 GB of VRAM handles GPU-based workloads with ease. That combination means running Metasploit, Burp Suite, and a couple of virtual machines at the same time without the system grinding to a halt. The 15.6-inch Full HD display features a 144 Hz refresh rate, which might sound like a gaming-only feature, but the smoother visuals actually make a noticeable difference during long terminal sessions and when scrolling through massive log files. RAM comes in at 16 gigabytes of DDR5, which is the sweet spot for juggling multiple cybersecurity tools simultaneously. Storage is 512 gigabytes on a PCIe Gen 4 SSD, which is adequate but fills up quickly once a couple of virtual machine images and large word lists get involved. The port selection is generous for a budget machine, including Gigabit Ethernet, HDMI 2.1, a 10 gigabytes USB-C, and multiple USB-A ports. That Ethernet port is critical for network penetration testing, where a wired connection eliminates variables that wireless introduces. The backlit keyboard is comfortable for extended use, though the key travel is a bit shallow compared to ThinkPad-style keyboards. Where the Nitro V15 stumbles slightly is in fan noise and battery life. Under heavy load, the fans get noticeably loud, and battery life sits around 4 to 5 hours, which means keeping a charger nearby during longer sessions. But for someone who wants dedicated GPU power for tasks like hash cracking alongside a capable multi-core processor for everything else, the Nitro V15 delivers serious performance without the serious price tag. The Lenovo LOQ15 is the sleeper pick on this list, and there is a strong case that it offers the best overall value for ethical hacking of any laptop here. It packs an AMD Ryzen 77435HS processor with 8 cores and 16 threads that boost up to 4.5 GHz, paired with an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4060 running at a full 115 watts. That GPU wattage is significant because many budget laptops limit their graphics cards to lower power envelopes to save on cooling costs, which directly impacts performance during GPU-intensive tasks. The LOQ15 does not cut that corner. The 15.6-inch Full HD display runs at 144 Hz with an IPS panel, so visuals stay sharp and responsive whether working in a graphical desktop environment or flipping between virtual machines. Memory is 16 gigabytes of DDR5 across dual SODIMM slots, and because both slots are accessible, upgrading to 32 gigabytes down the road is painless. The 512 gigabytes PCIe Gen 4 SSD provides fast storage, though adding a larger drive later is worth planning for. One thoughtful detail is the rear-mounted port layout. Ethernet, HDMI, power, and 2 USB-A ports all sit on the back of the laptop, which keeps cables routed behind the machine and out of the way during desk setups. The sides hold a USB-C port, another USB-A, and a headphone jack. There is also a physical webcam privacy shutter, which is a small but appreciated touch for anyone in the security space. The thermal design pushes hot air out of the rear rather than the sides, so hands stay cool even during extended penetration testing sessions. The trade-offs are real, though. At 5.12 pounds, it is the heaviest laptop on this list, and battery life is limited, so this is more of a desk-bound workhorse than a travel companion. There is no fingerprint reader or IR camera for biometric login either. But when it comes to raw performance per dollar spent, the LOQ15 punches harder than anything else in this lineup. Running 4 virtual machines while cracking hashes in the background is not a fantasy scenario with this machine. It is just a Tuesday. So which one of these 5 laptops fits the way you work best? Drop a comment below with the pick that caught your eye and let us know what kind of cybersecurity work you are getting into.